Hello, and welcome to Paranormal in Pennsylvania.
Where we investigate history and haunts.
Today's story takes us to Pittsburgh, where we currently live. I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We live in Pittsburgh.
Let's get into it. So, today's story takes us to the Heinz History Center. I've been here multiple times, but I don't know that we've ever been here together. Have you been here?
I believe so. I think we actually we went there together once for a specific, prohibition, or was that a different museum?
No, what was that? Maybe. I can't remember now. That was a cool event that we went to. I don't think it was at the History Center, though.
Gotcha.
But the History Center, like I said, I've been multiple times. I had not heard that it was haunted, though.
No, I haven't heard that either.
It was on that ghost tour that I did for my bachelorette party that I learned that this was haunted, and I was shocked when they stopped behind this building. So, some history. So, the Heinz History Center is an affiliate of the Smithsonian Institute, and the history of it being a historical society goes back really far. It goes back to 1879, and in 1879, the residents of Western Pennsylvania established this historical society to preserve local history, because I feel like Philadelphia gets a lot of love and attention when it comes to history because so much happened there. It was so significant. But you have to remember that, we have a lot of stuff here too, like Fort Pitt, etc.
Well, sure. I mean, Philadelphia had a lot in the 1700s, but once we had the Industrial Revolution for us, Pittsburgh had the largest or second largest stock market for a while too, located here in downtown. Pittsburgh was a huge city at one point and probably one of the most important hubs.
Right. So they wanted to preserve this history, and in 1884 the name changed to the Historical Society of Western Pennsylvania, which still exists today, over 100 years later. And in the late 1800s, the building that now houses the Heinz History Center was home to the, I'm going to butcher this name, Chautauqua Lake Company. Sorry, it's the Lake Ice Company. In 1898, there was an explosion there when there was a mishap with the ammonia that was being used to preserve the ice, and over a dozen people died trying to escape the building.
Oh, jeez.
And what makes this even worse is the owner's two sons worked there, and they both perished in this explosion and the fire that followed. And this is because the building's windows had iron shutters on them to keep the cold in, because it's an ice facility, so they don't have open windows, and you don't have, OSHA back in the 1800s. So the iron shutters were mostly sealed shut, which made it impossible for workers to get out. And it also made it impossible for firefighters to get water in, because you're trying to go through brick and iron to get this fire put out.
Right. Neither of those things are very easy to get through.
Exactly. So a pretty hopeless situation. To make it even worse, the walls that were constructed for this ice company were 6 feet thick in some areas to help keep the cold in.
Insulated. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So you're doomed.
Yeah, you're not getting out.
Yeah. So this building, although the inside burnt down because it was such a strong structure, it lasted past this ice company. And they sold off the building, and in 1996, the History Center took over the current location in the Strip District, and it's been there ever since.
Oh.
So, moving on to the ghost stories. When I went on the ghost tour that I went on, most of the accounts came from the guards that saw stuff there after closing. Apparently there's a relatively high turnover for these guards because they get spooked. And I can imagine being a nighttime security guard in general would be pretty freaky. There are reports of some artifacts coming to life, and this really feels like real life Night at the Museum. So there's a statue of a soldier that has been known to regularly come to life, and one guard reported walking along the floor, noting the pedestal was empty, and then turning and seeing the statue standing behind him.
Oh no, thank you.
I know.
That's it. I'm calling it in. I'm going home.
Right. I mean, at that point, I feel like I'd think it was something like carbon monoxide poisoning, something affecting my brain, because that is must be such a sight to see.
Right, that, or you're like, okay, are there people in here like messing with me now?
Right, but how would you move if a statue is attached to the pedestal? How would you move it?
I'm not sure.
So that's probably the coolest, most unique haunting there. But there are other reports of things. There are reports of a girl in ragged clothing that roams the library section, which I believe is closed to the public. At least I've never seen it. But she also roams the floors. And not much is known about her, but it's said that she plays with the exhibits sometimes, and that security footage has captured this little ghost girl playing.
Oh, that's really creepy, but also really cool, because
right.
It sounds very benign.
Right, exactly.
I wonder how a little girl came to be involved, though.
I don't know. I was thinking about that, like maybe someone had their daughter with them when it burnt down. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she just liked it there and she died young.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did you ever see like a manifest of the people that perished?
No. So investigations have come to the History Center, and they've recorded whispers when no one is present in the building. Like, they will set up the cameras, everybody left, and whispers are recorded. They couldn't really discern what was being said, though, but it does sound like human voices. There are also reports of the floor creaking as if someone is walking across it when only guards or staff are present. Floor creaking, while I understand could be due to paranormal activity, I do feel like sometimes floors just creak. The house, like a building settling.
Yeah, especially like in large, admittedly very old buildings like that.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen. Our house creaks a lot just from the wind blowing.
Right. So that one I always try to take kind of with a grain of salt. But there are also reports of moaning being heard, which they think is the people that were trapped in the building when the fire was happening. There are also reports of staff touching items and the items feeling as if they're made out of ice, which I think is a really cool manifestation.
Right. Oh my gosh. Hailing back to when it was this big ice facility.
Yeah.
Super
and
neat.
The ghosts could be creating the environment in which they worked, etc. So the last thing is visual accounts of spirits. And there have been a few of these. People have noted shadowy figures on the loading dock specifically. There have been reports from people dropping off artifacts that aren't even associated with the History Center, saying that they've seen these shadow figures. There are also ghosts that look like humans walking up and down the stairs between the exhibit floors. And there have been, like I said, these figures captured on security cameras. So one of the creepiest stories is from a guard who was, monitoring the cameras, working the night shift, and he saw a figure in the exhibit floor. And he thought that someone got locked in, or they didn't realize they closed, etc. So he went to go investigate it. And when they got there, there was no one. So they searched the whole place thinking that maybe the person was hiding, and they found no one. And the doors are all alarmed, so no one could have gotten out. So it must have been a spirit.
Yeah, either a ghost or somebody was very good at still hiding.
Yeah, very good at hiding. Guards have reported seeing these figures in person sometimes, but they typically disappear. They'll walk around an exhibit and then just disappear.
Interesting.
Orbs have been captured on camera, both film, digital, and video cameras. So it seems to not matter the media that you're using to collect it, these ghost orbs of light. So those are all of the hauntings of the History Center. We've both been. Honestly, anybody listening to this should go to the Heinz History Center if they haven't been. It is a really cool history center. We're kind of nerds for history, though, so...
we are.
Yeah, not everyone might feel that way. But I would love to go. I would like to go for a ghost hunt. I think that some of these things sound really cool and unique, like things feeling like ice, the statue moving, etc. What about you?
Yeah, I guess I'd go, no, I would definitely go, especially for the free ketchup packets.
Do they still do that?
I have no idea. I was just
But would you go for a ghost hunt?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would go. I think it'd be very interesting, just to see if we see anything, hear anything with the moans too. But I think more than anything, though, just to see like the museum again.
Yeah.
It is a really interesting museum.
And it rotates exhibits.
Yes.
So I'm sure they have new stuff. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Paranormal in Pennsylvania. Join us next week to see what hauntings we discuss next.
Bye.